Are you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan here.
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Amy Houde.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Houde, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Man, let's just say we have a stacked show today, hands down stacked. Not only did Gymkhana 8 drop last night, but even better, well, I wouldn't say even better, but it was pretty darn ridiculous. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Ken Block is going to be calling in here in just a few minutes. We're going to dissect Gymkhana 8, talk about his 2016 race plans. And, man, anytime Ken Block calls into the show, you know it's going to be a good one. Not only that, but we have a good friend of mine, a guest tied in with Ken Block in a way, and we'll get into that in hour number 2. But Miss Lindsay Orridge, she's going to be calling in from the UK, talking about her new company, the Motorsport Collective. Also spent some time with Ford WRC, spent some time in the marketing department of Monster Energy. She likes to call Ken Block, Louis Hamilton, and Valentino Rossi friends. That is right, Miss Lindsay Orridge. We're going to have her on the show as well in hour number 2. Not only that, we've got Amy Houde and some Supercross score and a whole lot more coming at you on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. We're going to cut to a short break. We come back. It's Ken Block on the line.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. MTX Audio is the leader in sound. Whether you're looking for high-quality, all-weather motorsports audio products like soundbars, amplifiers, and speakers that will work on any UTV or motorcycle, need to dial in your car or home with high-performance audio solutions, or are looking for a new portable speaker or set of headphones, MTX Audio has what you need to get your project sounding as good as it looks. MTX Audio is a family-owned American manufacturer who has been in business for over 40 years. Check out the full line of products at mtx.com. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'd like to welcome my first guest to the line, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend, Ken Block. How is everything going, Ken?
It's going good, Jim. How are you?
Oh, doing good, man. Just another week in the studio, but it's been one hell of a journey. But speaking of journeys, let's talk a little bit about Gymkhana 8, man. First time you guys that I know of left the U.S. to film, I guess a full version of Gymkhana, man. Dubai. That's stepping the bar up a bit.
Yeah, well, it's actually not the first time. It's the second time. We did Gymkhana 3 over in France. But it is a big deal, though. It's only the second one out of 8 that we've ventured across the sea to do something. But I had a great partnership, for the past year with X Dubai, and they really helped us integrate with, doing this video over there and getting us all the approvals and all that stuff. So it worked out really, really good because Dubai was already on my list of places that I wanted to make one of these videos. And then they came along and approached me and made things a lot easier for us to get it done. So it was really cool. A lot of fun doing it. Great to interact with, a different culture, and really enjoyed that element of it. And it was an amazing place to make a cool video.
Yeah, well, and I guess, that being said, I mean, you can have a dream list of places, but unless, you actually have those places, wanting to help you with it, it definitely makes it hard to get everything pushed through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easy to dream up all sorts of crazy ideas, but getting permission or getting the access is a completely different animal. And some places like LA and San Francisco, well, there's so much commercials and movies and TV shows that are filmed in those areas that there's great film commissions and they're totally used to that. But if you want to do something in a different area that doesn't have that system already built in, it can be quite difficult. So, I'm very lucky that I get to go out and make these videos, and they're incredibly fun to do. And it's amazing that people keep watching and enjoying what I do. But yeah, it's great to be able to partner with a place like Dubai and have them, just open their arms up and say, yes, come do this, and do it in all these most ridiculous locations. And yeah, it just really is. I'm quite a lucky dude that I get to do this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and talking about Dubai, I know, you've had that partnership with X Dubai. I know guys like Sheeny, from Nitro Circus, he's got a relationship with them as well. But Dubai, I mean, I've looked at it and go, man, this is a country they've literally opened their arms wide open for motorsports and action sports. And I mean, they're letting guys do base jumping and things that you can't do anywhere else in the world. And they've really embraced motorsports and action sports and taking it to heart.
Yeah, no, I agree. I went over there and visited just around a year ago, or maybe a little over a year ago, and I'd seen Dubai in photos. I'd seen sort of the different things from architecture to motorsports, and I was pretty intrigued by it, and I thought that it would be a cool place to do what I wanted to do. But actually going over there and really getting a look around and seeing sort of the attitude towards action sports, towards extreme sports, towards motorsports, it was just really cool. And it was something that, I wanted to embrace and wanted to be a part of, and for them to kind of really make things available to me to really do everything that I wanted was just incredible. I mean, there wasn't too much that I asked for that they didn't deliver, and that's usually quite the opposite. Usually I ask for the moon and they say, okay, well, you could have 10% of that. Yeah. But with there I asked for the moon and they gave me, 95% of it. So it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I know there was a spot, I think it was like in the opening of it, and, and it kind of, to me, set the tone, but I don't even know what to call it. Was it a leopard you had in the car with you? I mean, it was just, you see that, and I go, man, this is really going to be over the top. And then you start, mobbing through sand dunes in the car, and I was like, man, I can feel this. You're getting it a little airborne and everything else, and I don't know. I definitely, it's got to be one of my favorite versions, and I know, everybody's got their favorite versions. I mean, I'm a kind of a purist. I love the very first one a bit, but this one definitely kept me entertained for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of fun writing out the script for that one because the desert element is so big there, but most of the city is right on the water. So I enjoyed the idea of integrating the story from the sand all the way into the city and right down by the water. But at the same time too, there's a huge culture there around falcons and falconeering, and that's why I have the falcon with me in the beginning of the video, and it's stuff like that I enjoy interacting with the people and the culture, and then integrating that sort of stuff into there. And I don't know, I get to go around the world and make these cool things integrate with different, from LA to France now to Dubai, where we can really, embrace a part of their culture or part of their motorsport history, or, with somewhere like San Francisco, really, the history of car films there all the way back to, Bullets. So, I think that integration and the stylistic interpretation of kind of the culture and the cities really helps those things, stand out and be unique.
Yeah. Well, do you have any idea? I mean, this is, we've had you on air, quite a few times at this point. I think I've asked you everything, but at this point, I mean, when you first started, doing the rally thing, did you ever have any idea? I mean, I know it was something that you just, I think, wanted to do for fun. Did you ever have any idea this thing would steamroll into where you're at now and traveling the world with, hundreds of millions of YouTube views?
No. I mean, I started doing this just, for fun, and realized I had a little bit of natural talent to it, but I've worked really hard to try and be the best driver that I can possibly be, and doing these videos and all that really, sprouted from wanting to be in the car more and get more and more experience. And it's just one of those things that, the desire was there, and then it worked out to just be, an amazing opportunity to do really fun stuff with the car. So I'm very lucky that as a race car driver, not only do I get to go out and race amazing events, but I get to go do all these dynamic marketing pieces from, different things with different partners, like helping develop the RS and all the marketing around that this year. Sorry, the Focus RS, and all the way to doing, these Gymkhana videos. So I really consider myself one of the luckiest race car drivers in the world.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I've always, a lot of guys, they just do one thing, and to me, I've always respected you because not only do you drive cars, I mean, you're definitely a great snowboarder. I mean, you're out on dirt bikes. I didn't realize how good you were on a dirt bike until I started talking about, to some of the guys on a team, and they're like, oh yeah, Ken's really good, and start talking with them and hearing stories. I mean, you're a guy, you just like to do fun stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe in doing stuff, the best way possible that I can. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, in a good way, try and be safe at the same time, but, always try and do stuff at the highest level. And not that I could ever be a pro on a dirt bike, but I enjoy, going out and riding the best that I can, jumping stuff and genuinely having a good time with it.
Yeah, got to ask you. I know we got a mutual friend, Chad Reed. How you feeling about him this year? He's definitely killing it, man. I guess everybody's saying doing it for the old guys, but I got to say I'm pretty darn impressed with old CR22 this year.
Yeah, no, I'm really stoked for Chad. I mean, a new bike and a new team, and he's had some very good results. It's kind of crazy how good Dungey's kind of running away with everything this year, but other than that, it's great to see a couple of the guys like Chad really come back and put on a good show and be on the podium a couple times. And I'm stoked for him. Like, he's been around a long time. It's been great to watch him over the years compete, and now still killing it today.
Yeah. Hey, we got to take a short commercial break. Can you hang out on the line? I'd love to jump into talking some World Rallycross and Andreas Backerud after the break, buddy.
No problem.
All right, we're going to cut to a short commercial break. We come back, we're going to be talking some WRX, Andreas Backerud, Ken's new teammate, after this.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, Snocross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris RZR XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. MTX Audio is the leader in sound. Whether you're looking for high-quality, all-weather motorsports audio products like soundbars, amplifiers, and speakers that will work on any UTV or motorcycle, need to dial in your car or home with high-performance audio solutions, or are looking for a new portable speaker or set of headphones, MTX Audio has what you need to get your project sounding as good as it looks. MTX Audio is a family-owned American manufacturer who has been in business for over 40 years. Check out the full line of products at mtx.com. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here, and we got my good friend Ken Block on the line, talking a little Gymkhana 8. We're going to switch gears a bit and talk a little World Rallycross Championship. Ken, man, big off-season news. Going back to Europe, that's got to feel good. Running World Rallycross, I mean, the talent level over there is just insane. New teammate, Andreas Backerud. I mean, big off-season moves for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really the biggest part of all that is the fact that Ford has come and re-signed with me for another big, long contract, and I will be I am now the main factory-supported team to go race Rallycross. And in the past, I've just been a Ford-sponsored driver. There hasn't been technical help. There hasn't been help developing my race car, any of that sort of thing. But now, being an actual factory driver, I've got Ford Performance, all the technology and know-how, behind the whole entire Ford Performance team, helping us develop a brand new race car to go try and, win that title. So that's probably the biggest step for me, because in the like I said in the past, I was just a sponsored Ford driver. So when I went to the WRC, there was the factory team, guys like Nico Hirvonen there, racing the factory team, and I was just paying to race a slightly lower level, customer car. So now, this is really a huge opportunity for me, because instead of just being someone paying to drive a customer car, now I have, the factory team, Ford Performance, behind me helping develop the best, rallycross car that they can for me to go out and race and try and win a world title. So very cool for me. It's a huge step in my career. This will be the biggest, year basically of my career, stepping up to, World Rallycross, doing it with a 2-car team and doing it with Ford Performance behind me. So very, very cool for me. It's great to be in this position. I enjoyed racing in the GRC, but, the tracks that they have in Europe just fit me and my driving style a bit better, and being able to race against guys like, Petter Solberg, Sebastian Loeb, and, Andreas Backerud, all those, great drivers is just going to be a huge challenge. And that's what I want. I want a huge challenge to help me continue to push to be a better driver. And so really looking forward to all that.
Yeah, well, and and I got to ask you about Andreas Backerud, because he's one of my favorite people in motorsport. The guy, I've said for a long time, publicly, I'm like, this guy, I think there's a whole lot more there. And I'm like, and everybody wants to talk about European drivers coming to the States and vice versa. And I said, if there's one guy that I can handpick that just has the charisma and the personality to really be a global brand, I said it's Andreas Backerud. The guy, I love him to death, and he's even more fun when you get a few drinks in him. But how did he come into the fold? Because I see what you do, and I think he's an absolute, perfect fit for the team. And not only that, not from a personality standpoint, but from a driver standpoint. He's hands down one of the best in the world.
Yeah, it's not easy to pick, a driver to come and be in a team like mine, and it's really got to fit a particular mold. Someone that's really hardworking, really talented, but also is there to have fun and get along with a good group of guys. And Andreas just fits that. And the fact that he's raced, in Fords the past couple of years and been a monster athlete, the fit was just very, very good. So I'm really stoked, because, I wanted a driver that obviously was extremely talented, could help us win, a manufacturer title. But at the same time, too, I wanted someone that just would fit the team really well, get along with all of us, and have a really good personality. And that's really what Andreas is. He's extremely talented, but at the same time, too, he's had to really work for it, and really he knows what it takes to come from the bottom and really have to struggle and find the sponsorship dollars, to get to this level. So it's great to see that, he not only knows how to get in the car and drive it, but he knows the entire other side of the business to try and, put a car on the track. So he really genuinely appreciates the team and where we're coming from and what we're doing. So I think it's a perfect fit. I couldn't, we can't really say anything more complimentary about the situation, because I can honestly tell you, I'm really that happy. Like, we looked and talked to a bunch of different guys, and Andreas was kind of always my number one, and the negotiations, everything worked out really, really well. We're both very happy, and I think it's going to be a good couple of years of working with a really good, talented, Norwegian driver. So I'm stoked.
Yeah, well, not only that, he's been around, those tracks. He's got, he knows the tracks. I'm sure he's got setup and technical information in the back of his head, so he'll definitely be able to help you guys accelerate, the program once you guys get over there and kick things off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that being said, I know you're talking about your relationship with Ford. I got to ask, at the end, this all kind of ties together. But at the end of Gymkhana 8, we got kind of a glimpse of I believe it's called the RSRX. Is that what you're going to be campaigning in WRX? Is that the new Gymkhana car, or what's the story there? Can you tell us any more?
Well, that is the car that Ford Performance has been developing for me with M Sport, and there'll be more information to come out with it. I think tomorrow from Ford Performance, they wanted to do a big press release about what they've been doing. So we put it in the video because that is the place where we know that we get a lot of views. So we wanted to really show off, what we've been developing. But yeah, that is the car that I'll be using in the next Gymkhana video and that I'll be racing this year. So, amazing to have that, knowledge and experience and abilities with Ford Performance to come in and really help us make the best vehicle possible for us to go race. And, I've been helping develop the Focus production car for the past couple of years. So now it's great to take that platform and go out and race it.
Yeah, for sure. So we got, before we let you go, we got a couple of fan questions that have rolled in, and actually a lot of fan questions, but I kind of handpicked 3 of them that we'll kind of shoot at you and direct from the fans. But first one, we had Charlie Bravo from the UK. He wanted to ask about Dubai. He said, was there any fees associated with all the marks you left on all these beautiful streets and stuff because they keep the place so clean, or was that all covered in the original, agreement?
Yes, there was definitely some concern with some of the spots, especially the Alcazar Hotel, where I did, a couple slides around the fountain in the entrance, and that's a very beautiful hotel, and they were definitely concerned about us leaving too many marks. So within an hour of us being gone, the production staff for the film already had a street cleaner in there. And those marks were virtually invisible. Like I knew that they were there. There was a very small hint of them, but that's just sort of a part of this process. That when we go into certain areas, sometimes with the permissions that we get, we have to build in the budget to go in there and clean it up. And it's not everywhere. There's only a couple spots we really had to do that. Places like a very nice bougie hotel. But it's definitely sort of a part of the game and is built into the budget.
Yeah. All right. Question number 2. This one comes from Instagram. Dustin Bateman. He's asking. He says Hoonigan. He says the growth of the brand has been huge. He's like, where do you see the Hoonigan brand? 2-3 years out, and did you expect the rapid growth that it's had?
Yeah, I mean, really, really stoked on the growth of the brand. It's been a fun project. It's great to be able to take, the messaging and what we do with a race team like, Hoonigan Racing, and be able to integrate that with products and really be able to share with the fans sort of what we love, as far as marketing messages and T-shirt designs and everything. So it's been really, really fun. And, more than anything, I'm just really stoked that the fans like it so much and, come and, follow the social media accounts and like the videos and like the photos and then, buy the T-shirts and everything that goes along with it. So, when I started off doing all this, I was much more integrated with DC with some of this stuff. But at the end of the day, DC was a skateboard shoe company, and they only wanted to do a small amount of the marketing and product. So Hoonigan has been a great outlet for me and my business partner, Brian, to be able to go out and have a lot of fun making the stuff and doing all the marketing. So really I have the fans to thank that it's, without the fans, liking and wanting to buy the stuff, it really has nowhere to go. So, the fans that come along and buy the products and interact with us is really one of the coolest parts.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been, I've worked with Brian on a few projects. It's been crazy to see the growth of the brand. It's just nuts, to be honest with you. I mean, and I think that's a testament to both you and him and what you've done behind the scenes to help grow it.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, it's been tremendous. So last question, we got Mike Sellers from St. Louis wondering at some point, he goes, basically said, I know Ken's got some Rallycross engagements the next couple of years. At some point, are we going to possibly see him back doing some stage rally?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, stage rally is still the basis of why I race cars, and it's absolutely what I truly love doing. Rallycross is very, very intense, and I really enjoy it too. But at some point, further down in my career, I'll be back doing stage rally as part of my program. So looking forward to those days. I've really enjoyed, racing here in America, but also racing in great places like New Zealand and in England and Spain. So I want to do that again someday. So it's just a matter of time and budget, though. At some point, it'll become more available to me, but right now it just isn't.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Ken, I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a massive day for you with Gymkhana 8 just dropping. Last time I looked, I think you were well over 600,000 views in just a few hours. So congrats on another blockbuster, buddy, and we'll definitely talk soon.
All right, thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me on.
All right, always, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that was Ken Block calling in, talking a little Gymkhana 8, and we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking some Supercross with Miss Amy Houde here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
The hotel is waiting. And your getaway is as close as Blue Water Resort and Casino's spring room special, starting at just $54.95. You'll be steps away from hot slot machines, table games, bingo, restaurants, lounges, the Blue Water Marina, golf, and more. Lee Greenwood hits the stage in the amphitheater Saturday, February 27th. Book your room today at BlueWaterFun.com or call 888-243-3360. Rooms starting at just $54.95. Now at Blue Water Resort and Casino in Parker, Arizona. Available Sunday through Thursday, February 1st through April 30th. Based on availability. Tax and resort fees are not included. Cannot be combined with any other offers. Excludes holidays, weekends, and special events.
Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Just got done with my good friend, the man, the myth, the legend, Ken Block. And always fun catching up with Ken. And had a few fan questions sprinkled in there. But, man, talk about a guy who is just absolutely, just absolutely doing some amazing, amazing things. Always appreciate, the time that he gives me on air. And, when he calls in, I mean, a guy, He is as busy as they come, but always a pleasure to have Mr. Ken Block on air. And speaking of always a pleasure to have on air, I'd like to welcome my partner in crime, Miss Amy Houde, to the show.
Hey, what's up?
You got to hit the music here, Houde. All right, what is happening, Amy? We're following up Ken Block with Amy Houde, man. We're in the presence of greatness, right?
Well, thank you. Not so much me, but Ken, yes.
So I got to ask you, I know it dropped at like 9 o'clock Pacific, which was like 11 o'clock your time. So did you have a chance to watch Gymkhana 8 yet?
No, I have not. So as soon as I'm done work here, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I figured. I know there's a lot of listeners probably haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I watched it last night and then again this morning. It's like 9 minutes long, but I know you have a booming YouTube channel, but man, I mean, it's crazy, how a guy like that, just talking with him, like he had no idea. Like he filmed the first Gymkhana as like a practice and threw it up on YouTube, not expecting anything. And, tens of millions of views later, he's got this film franchise. And now literally dropped it at 9 Pacific last night. I went on there this morning at about 8 a.m. Pacific, and it was already at 650,000 views.
Just crazy. It's so insane.
Yeah.
But, people are super receptive to crazy stuff. And, it's we'll just wait to see in a week from now how many views it has.
Oh, yeah. It'll be 4 or 5 million by then, guaranteed. But how's everything been with you? I know you were kind of on your deathbed last week.
Oh, yeah. No, I apologize for missing the show. It was kind of sad. I felt really lonely on Tuesday there. But I had the worst flu ever, and now I've infected all of my family and friends, and now they have the flu. So at least I got it out of my system, after California and before Vegas. I'm happy to have, been able to take the day off work, and but I was dead all week. It was terrible, but no, finally I'm over that. I'm feeling better, so now it's back to the gym and back to the drawing board. And I am very happy to announce I've been kind of waiting and keeping it closed, locked up tight now, but I can finally say that I will be switching to the Blue Crew this year. So for 2016, I will be riding a YZ 250F. So I'm on Yamahas. I'm so excited.
Yeah, big news for you. I know it sounds like they're sending you not only a new motocross bike, but sounds like you're getting a street bike as well. So sounds like you're gonna have a lot of fun come summer.
I know they're happily hooking me up with an R3, which is a great bike, a great street bike for girls, I think, and like kind of petite people like myself. But I'm going to be the head of the Ride for Dad prostate cancer charity, which is a big motorcycle ride here in Winnipeg, and they actually do it all across Canada. But I am the new chair for that event, so I obviously need to be on a street bike, and I'm going right now for my motorcycle's license. So I'll be able to participate, not have to sit on the back of a bike. But no, the great thing about Yamaha is they want to support me on a dirt bike track or on the road or anything, and they're just it's really exciting to be with a new partner and kind of, it's almost like rebranding myself. I've been with Honda all my life, and it's like a fresh start and starting something new. And it's funny, tomorrow's my birthday. I'm turning 27 years old, and most of my 27-year-old friends are getting married, having babies, and here I am revamping my whole moto career and, making new dirt biking goals. And it's really funny that, the older I get, the more stuff I actually just want to do. Like, I have no desire to settle down in the next couple years here. Absolutely not. I refuse to. No babies for me. That's okay. Yeah. But it's just funny to see, like, where my friends I grew up in high school and university are sitting in their life and where I am. I feel like I'm still 18 years old.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you say that because I know you're going to be racing some Polaris Razors and Terracross and stuff, but it seems like that happens. I mean, I hit 30 and 4.5 years ago, or whatever the heck it was, and I decided to go into radio, and here I am. Never would have figured I'd be talking to Ken Block and having a Canadian co-host talking with me every week on air. But you just never know. I mean, sometimes things happen, and I don't want to call them midlife crisis, but you just kind of come to realization you're not super stoked on where you're at, and you make a change for the better. And that happens from time to time.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, it's just funny that a lot of my friends are having babies. And, most 30-year-olds don't plan to, get on a motorcycle or get their motorcycle license or, I kind of want to sell my house here and just get on the road and travel. Most people are settling down. But turning 27, it's funny because I was talking to my dad, and my current goal right now is to race the over 30 Loretta Lynn's. Is to try to qualify for the over 30 class at Loretta Lynn's in a couple years. So, my goals just keep getting out there. I don't know if that would be called a midlife crisis or whatever it is, young adult crisis. But no, it's funny. So
yeah,
it's exciting. Keeps me busy, I guess. Keeps me on my toes. Keeps me young.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the switch is in need. I know. I switched to Subaru this year, so I'm repping Subaru Blue, and it's a first for me. Excited about it, but
we'll both be blue.
Yeah, we'll definitely both be blue. They're sending me out a nice blue WRX STI, so I'm really excited to get that. But you just never know. Sometimes you need a change to. To freshen, just it refreshes you, re-energizes you, and sometimes it's needed, and it's not that anything was wrong before, but it just becomes a status quo, and it's like, you need a shot in the arm, and sometimes a new partnership does that.
Yeah, no, exactly, and sometimes it's that fuel that ignites a whole new fire, because I was a little worried. I'm like, I don't have a bike this year yet, and I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't plan to race all that much. It's more events in my schools and these ride days, and I'll be doing a lot of traveling. Once I talked to Yamaha, and I went out in California, got the opportunity to ride a Yamaha through AMA's sport bike racer, Melissa Paris, who is factory Yamaha, let me try her bike, which is super cool. But you know what? I got completely recharged to race again. I'm like, you know what? No, I don't want to just sit back. I can't just go and hang out at the races. I want to race nationals again. So I have a couple nationals on my to-do list this year, a couple Canadian, maybe one in Europe, we'll see. But it was almost like a spark that reignited this flame that, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to train, I'm going to set some goals, and I'm going to go back out there and see what I can do. So it's always good to switch things up and just get a whole new, outlook on your career, I guess you can say. So I'm pumped. But it's funny because, I'm getting older, and these girls who, are racing the world championships and all over the map are just getting younger. These crazy talented athletes are coming out of the woodwork, and they're 15, 16 years old. And here I am, pushing 30, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't keep up. But it's super funny. The motocross industry is a really young industry, and if you're not 15 years old and winning championships, you just don't have a career. So, hopefully I can do it for all these old girls out there, and show them that I can't believe I'm calling myself old. I'm not old, but I'm older than the girls I'm racing against, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's funny because Levi LaValle, he and I have had this conversation, and he and I are the same age, and and we look at all these young kids, and I don't consider myself old. I'm the dad that still once a week takes my daughter to the skate park, and there's all these 13, 14-year-old kids, and here I am, 35, riding around the skate park, and they all laugh. And then I hit the vert ramp the other day, and all of them are looking like, "Holy crap, this guy can ride a vert ramp!" And I'm like, you're only old if you feel like you're old, and that's what I've always said. But it's funny, Levi and I have had this conversation. You have to get. It's not that you get old, you get smarter, and you get selective about what you do. And It's a risk versus reward. When we were younger, we just jump into everything and forget it. You can bounce back up. But you get older, and it's like you get smarter. You look at the risk and reward and go, what are my odds of actually making this or succeeding at this? Okay, well, maybe we'll pass on this opportunity, and take the next one. So I think you just get smarter as you age.
And I've chilled out a lot. I've completely noticed that with all my traveling and, going to events and going to races and, flying into California and having a couple of days and a week there, usually I'm like a chicken with my head cut off, running around, getting stressed out because I have all these plans and things aren't going as planned, and it's just a disaster. I used to get so frustrated and ruin the whole experience of events or a race because I would be so anxious and worried and stressed out and, hoping it would go one way and it would go a complete opposite way. So the best thing about, I think, being a little bit older in this industry and being around for a while is learning just to, let things happen as they happen. It's probably the best advice I've learned myself, is to just, kind of go in with no expectations and enjoy the moment and, enjoy the racing and focus on yourself and not everything that's going all around, going on around you, and to just take it all in and one step at a time, brush things off and let things happen as they happen. And it's made my experiences so much better. I've literally been sitting in the airport crying sometimes because I've, had a plan and it just deviated and gone off track. And oh my gosh, I could not handle it when I was 18, 19 years old. And now I finally have been able to figure it all out. So.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say any of us have it figured out, but at least we're not crying in the airport anymore, right?
Yeah, I can let it brush off now. I've been able to deal with it. Just let it go.
Now, see, the difference is now, I guess, if you're in the States, you can't say in Canada. I was going to say, at least now, when you're 18, 19 in the States, you had to cry. Now you're 18, 19 in the States, and you're in the airport, you can go get a drink. And that makes everything better.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you Canadians have it figured out, man. It's not 21 there. It's 18. That's the way it should be. It's kind of ridiculous every other country in the world.
And that's because we know that life problems happen at 18 years old, not 21. So we, drop that age to be able to allow ourselves to deal with problems better.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's exactly it. Oh, geez.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, nice. So, all right. Well, I know you wanted to talk a little world championship, but I got to tell you, Houde, I think we're going to have to push that back to later on in the show when when we talk some Supercross, because we're running up against the gun here, and got to take a commercial break here shortly.
All right, awesome. Well, we'll come back and we'll, touch base on World Motocross Championships. It was the first round in Qatar this weekend, so it's really exciting. And also Monster Energy Supercross headed east. So we have so much to talk about. 250s was insane. 450s was crazy. We'll have lots to talk about. So I'll see you guys, I guess, in an hour, right?
Yep.
45 minutes.
Yep, 45 minutes. We got Lindsay Orridge coming up next here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show in about 5-10 minutes out. And Amy Houde later on in the show. Thanks a lot, Amy. We'll talk in just a bit. And we're going to hit this short commercial break. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. MTX Audio is the leader in sound. Whether you're looking for high-quality, all-weather motorsports audio products like soundbars, amplifiers, and speakers that will work on any UTV or motorcycle, need to dial in your car or home with high-performance audio solutions, or are looking for a new portable speaker or set of headphones, MTX Audio has what you need to get your project sounding as good as it looks. MTX Audio is a family-owned American manufacturer who has been in business for over 40 years. Check out the full line of products at mtx.com. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The hotel is waiting. And your getaway is as close as Blue Water Resort and Casino's spring room special starting at just $54.95. You'll be steps away from hot slot machines, table games, bingo, restaurants, lounges, the Blue Water Marina, golf, and more. Lee Greenwood hits the stage in the amphitheater Saturday, February 27th. Book your room today at BlueWaterFun.com or call 888-243-3360. Rooms starting at just $54.95. Now at Blue Water Resort and Casino in Parker, Arizona. Available Sunday through Thursday, February 1st through April 30th. Based on availability. Tax and resort fees are not included. Cannot be combined with any other offers. Excludes holidays, weekends, and special events.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Man, great show so far. Ken Block kicking things off. The head Hoonigan in charge, talking about his new World Rallycross plans, Gymkhana 8, and a whole lot more. Just got done talking a bit with Amy Houde. She's going to be back later on in the show as well. We got Lindsay Orridge coming up here to kick off hour number 2 in just a bit. But right now we're going to talk a little score and a little WORCS. That's right. Had a lot of racing action over the weekend, and score San Felipe 250 going down there in Baja. And Tommy Lee, that's right, Motley Crue Tommy Lee, Pamela Anderson Tommy Lee, that Tommy Lee, he was actually racing. So, yeah, it's definitely a DNF for Mr. Tommy Lee. But always cool to see the celebrities come out and and race. Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Billy Wilson taking the win, first ever trophy truck race. Corey Kesar second, Abdeli Lopez third in trophy truck. We had Ronnie Wilson taking the Class 1 win, Chad Broughton in trophy truck spec, Todd Winslow Class 10, Jorge Sampietro in 1-2-1600. Score lights was Luis Barragan. Aaron Ampudia taking the Class 8 win, Ben Swift in Class 5. We had Pro UTV David Nance taking the win there. Pro UTV forced induction, my buddy Mark Burnett taking the win, and David Heredia in 5-1600. Noe Gutierrez, Jorge Rivas, and Jorge Navarro rounding out your four-wheeled vehicle class winners. Looking at the bikes, it was Colton Udall with the overall victory on a bike. We had Mario Muria Jr., Mike Johnson, Tony Guerra, Mark Winkleman, Garrett Poucher, Javier Robles, Christopher Kitt, and Eric Ruiz taking victories as well at San Felipe. So solid event down there. I know it's going to be airing on CBS Sports later on this year. And then looking at WORCS, give you the rundown on WORCS real quick. Side-by-side pro, it was all RJ Anderson. We had Ray Bullock taking the side-by-side pro stock victory. Pro Unlimited went to Ray Bullock as well. And looking at the side-by-side women's there in WORCS, it was Danielle Weatherly followed by Katie Vernola, a couple of good friends of the Down and Dirty Radio Show there. So lots of racing action over the weekend. Those are your results. And we are going to take another short break. And when we come back, going to preview hour number 2, and we got Lindsay Orridge on the line from the UK. So all that and more still coming at you here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
I'm Polaris rider Lee Valley, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, Snocross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris RZR XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And, man, getting ready to kick off hour number 2 here in just a few minutes. And, man, it is going to be a good hour. My good friend Lindsay Orridge going to be on the line calling in. And I got to tell you, she is a good friend of mine, somebody I've known in motorsport for a long, long time. And, you know, it's interesting. I mean, she was back, one of my guests in the very first year of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. We got to be talking maybe first 20 episodes, maybe. I'll have to look back, but definitely one of the OGs, along with Ken Block. One of the OGs of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and literally I haven't talked to her since then on air. You know, obviously follow each other on social media and such, but I haven't had a chance. But she is definitely a very entertaining guest. She's got a ton of stuff working. She's used to work with Ford at WRC. In addition to Ford WRC, then she went to work for Monster Energy. She worked with B.J. Baldwin, Ken Block, Valentino Rossi, Louis Hamilton. I mean, you name it. She's worked with the who's who of motorsport, and man, does she have some stories to tell? That is for sure. Her herself, we'll get into it a bit. I guarantee I'm going to put her on the spot here in just a few minutes, but went all ninja on some muggers back 4 or 5 years ago in the UK. Literally made international headlines. 5-foot blonde, going ninja and taking out some muggers trying to steal a watch from Tiff Nadell. So definitely, I'm gonna put her on the spot about that. I think sometimes she thinks it kind of gets brushed under the rug and people forget about it. Nah, we're gonna bring that back up for sure. Guaranteed, that one's coming at you, Lindsay. So definitely always fun. Somebody I have a huge amount of respect for. And, and motorsport really is just a traveling circus. We're a traveling circus, and once in a while you stop in a town and you know some people and, and you're, and paths cross. And that literally is, the way it works in motorsports. I've got, friends all over the world, and some of them I may see only once every 5 years. But when you do, it's like, if you pick up where you didn't leave off. That's definitely for sure. So always fun to have Lindsay on air. We also got Amy Houde. We're going to be dissecting some Supercross as well. And, and I almost forgot. We got some Snocross results to get to as well. Snocross in action over the weekend as well. And Tucker Hibbert continues to be Mr. Tucker Hibbert. That's for sure. So we are going to take a short commercial break. When we come out of it, Lindsay Orridge is going to be on the line with me here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my next guest to the line from over there in the UK, Miss Lindsay Orridge. It's been, 3-4 years since we've had you on air. Definitely too long.
It's been far too long, yeah. I think the last time we spoke, it was years ago, and it was around about the time where my face was all over the newspapers for beating up some muggers in the street on behalf of Tiff Medell. So, yeah, it's definitely lots has happened since then.
Yeah, well, and I was going to ask you. That was going to be my first lead-in. I was going to say, hey, you stole my line from me. I was going to say,
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think it was right around that time when you literally made some global news with that. Anybody still bring that up anymore?
Oh, yeah. Still, I mean, my father's never forgotten it, never will. Still thinks I'm just, the silliest girl to have ever attempted to fight off 3 big burly men. But yeah, people even now still say, oh my God, do you remember that time? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. How could I not? And I speak to Tiff still quite regularly. And yeah, it's kind of one of those sort of running jokes among my friends that, if anyone ever looks like there's someone about to get mugged, they're like, go on, get involved. So yeah, I think it's there forever. I think I'm stuck with it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that being said, you're someone I know, you and I were talking. It's, this industry, it's quite interesting to make a living in the motorsport industry. And I think people see it as this glamorous job, and, oh my gosh, you work in motorsports. And I don't think they really know what goes into it. And I know myself, and I'm sure you're included. I mean, you don't get one big paycheck. It's a lot of really small paychecks, and you just really have to keep going from job to job and grind it out. I mean, the big checks are few and far between. But that being said, I mean, you've had some phenomenal jobs. I know you worked with Ford WRC. You've worked with Monster Energy. I mean, now you've got Motorsport Collective that you're starting up. I mean, you've had some great opportunities.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I think I started quite young in the motorsport industry. I started when I was 17, working at Silverstone or the Formula One Grand Prix in the press office there, and it kind of took off from there, really. And because I grew up in the area in the UK where motorsport is pretty much all the teams are based, we've got 6 or 7 Formula One teams within, striking distance of where I grew up, that I had those opportunities kind of perhaps a little easier than maybe some people who didn't live in that area. But yeah, I have grafted, believe me. I've done, I've been there, seen it, done it. I've done the 25-hour days and the 8-day weeks. and the never going home and all of that. So it's been a bit of a ride. So left Monster Energy last year. I headed up all of their motorsport communications, so anything that had an engine and a sticker on it, I pretty much was my problem. So everything from Ken Block to BJ Baldwin to Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg to Valentino Rossi. So it was a pretty wild ride, but I tapped out last year and decided that I needed to go home for a bit and maybe sleep in my own bed for a few nights. And here I am now. So the Motorsport Collective is a fun new project. So lots going on, much like yourself.
Yeah, and before we jump in and talk about Motorsports Collective, I got to ask, I mean, just because I'm a desert racer and, you mentioned BJ Baldwin and I know you worked on some projects with him, but I got to ask, just because, you've worked in rally and Rallycross and you've been around Formula One and MotoGP, I mean, what was your first experience with trophy trucks and BJ flying through the desert? I mean, what was your thought process when you finally saw that?
Well, it was quite funny because when I started at Monster Energy, a friend of mine through Tiff, who is he's part of the Top Gear magazine, so he's one of the kind of chief guys there, and he is obsessed with trophy trucks. And literally, I think I was on my third day at Monster, and my phone rang, and it was Tom Ford, who I'm guessing some of your listeners may or may not know. And he said to me, right, I know you've been there for 3 days, but when am I going to get a ride in BJ's truck? And I was like, okay, give me a break. Like, I've literally been here 3 days. So that was kind of something that it was a little kind of personal project really to help those guys out there. So my first experience of that was literally flying into Vegas to go and meet BJ for the first time and bringing the Top Gear guys with me. And just taking the trophy truck out in the desert and just, whizzing around in the desert for 3 or 4 days in a row, and helicopters and lots of guns and all sorts of stuff going on. And it was awesome. I had so much fun. It's such one incredible machine. Like, I mean, I was literally like crawling around it, getting underneath it, looking at all this stuff, and absolutely amazing. I was very lucky because I know a lot of people are pretty jealous that I managed to get a ride in that thing. But more of that, please. I love that stuff.
How does that compare? Obviously, I know you know Ken Block and the boys over there at Houde very well. I mean, obviously you've ridden in quite a few different cars. I mean, what's got to be your favorite? You got to have a thrill ride that's been your favorite so far.
Oh well, I mean, I think when you've been in a rally car or something like a trophy truck, getting in a car and going around a tarmac circuit just is pretty boring after that. So. This is going to sound terribly spoiled, but my last event that I did with Monster Energy was actually with Lewis Hamilton and the Mercedes-Benz World in the UK, and he took me out on the track in an AMG and was, flinging it around left, right and centre, trying to kind of, make me laugh, basically. And I was like, wow, it's just not Rallycross, is it? And I think perhaps to tell that to Lewis Hamilton might be, to most people, a bit of a shocker when you've just been driven around by the 3-time Formula One world champion. But I love rally cars and that sort of whizzing past trees, in snowbanks and through deserts and stuff like that. That is just so much more thrilling than anything tarmac based to me because, like I say, I've been a bit spoiled and I've been in pretty much everything with most drivers. So I'm very lucky and I've experienced it all. So it's got to be rally.
Yeah, well, and you talk to most of the tarmac drivers, and I'm sure if you talk to him behind closed doors, Lewis Hamilton, he'd say the same thing. Like, I really want to go try Rallycross.
Yeah, no, he really, really does, actually. Lewis is really keen to have a go on that because obviously he knows Ken and he's, absolutely desperate to kind of hop in a car like that. So, you never know.
Yeah, you definitely
don't. Watching the space, you never know what you might see.
Yeah, well,
I've got anything to do with it.
Yeah, and I've always been, impressed with Valentino Rossi. I mean, I've always said him and Sebastian Loeb are probably, I would say, two of the greatest drivers on 2 and 4 wheels combined, that you'll ever see. It seems like those guys like that can jump in just about anything and be fast.
Yeah, it's incredible. We put Valentino in the NASCAR whilst I was at Monster, and he literally got in it and did a few kind of, laps, and the boys were sort of telling him what to do and how to do it, and he was like, yeah, all right, I got this, and everyone was like, oh, we'll give him a chance. And I'm not kidding, like, he flew in that thing. And I think everyone was pretty shocked, actually, because they were like, who is this guy? He's used to 2 wheels, and he come over here and, get a NASCAR. And I think everyone's minds were blown because he was so rapid. And he was clipping times off of, the bottom end of the table, which is the first time I've ever hopped in a car like that. And he just, takes it to, takes anything. He can get in anything and own it. So, but Rallycross for him, I think, it's always fun to see him in the car, because at the end of a season at something like Monza Rally, he just totally relaxes. There's no necessarily like the same pressure that you have of a MotoGP weekend, and seeing him just like jumping into a Rallycross car and, you know, fighting with the likes of Danny Sordo and those sorts of guys, you think that's a gift. It really is, and he's incredible, absolutely incredible guy. Yeah, really good fun working with him.
Yeah, well, and that being said, I know your background, obviously, going back, stage rally. You've traveled with the WRC and Ford to events around the world. But it seems like in the past, it's funny, since we talked last. I mean, WRC, I know it's had its struggles, but Rallycross, both here in the United States and with I call it European Rallycross Championship, but the World Championship over there, it seems like that's what everybody's talking about. It seems like you got guys like Petter and are now making a living at Rallycross, whereas, their background's in stage rally.
Yeah, I think it's really kind of indicative of how the kind of landscape's changing, really, and how people consume motorsport media. Because if you imagine, like, trying to follow a rally, I mean, crikey, the times that I would be sat on a stage thinking, I have no idea what's going on, because unless you've got a good radio or somebody who's linked up to the team, you really struggle to kind of keep an eye on what's going on. So to go and commit to watching a rally on a Saturday or a Sunday with your family is pretty intense. Like, you have to walk for miles. You might not be able to get to see the car that you want to see, and when they do come past, it's thrilling, but it's not very kind of instant gratification. Whereas Rallycross, it just makes sense. You sit and you watch it, even if you don't know the rules or don't know what's going on. I mean, you can see that this guy's ahead and this guy's behind, and that they're taking the Joker lap, and that it's a bit sort of smash and grab and a bit like wacky races. But I think it's more entertaining than watching a stage rally in terms of the kind of spectator's point of view. So yeah, it totally makes sense. It fits for television. It's perfect for all the kind of social media things that everybody's up to these days, and just getting that message out there. And I think rally, that's unfortunately kind of been left behind a little bit, because it is just so hard to capture, really hard to watch, really hard to capture on television.
Yeah. Well, right there, we're going to have to take a short break, Linz, but I know you're going to hang out, and we'll chat here in just a second after this break. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. MTX Audio is the leader in sound. Whether you're looking for high-quality, all-weather motorsports audio products like soundbars, amplifiers, and speakers that will work on any UTV or motorcycle, need to dial in your car or home with high-performance audio solutions, or are looking for a new portable speaker or set of headphones, MTX Audio has what you need to get your project sounding as good as it looks. MTX Audio is a family-owned American manufacturer who has been in business for over 40 years. Check out the full line of products at mtx.com. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Great guest on the line right now, Lindsay Orid. I know we've been talking some Rallycross and a little bit of everything, but let's talk about your new company, Motorsport Collective. Kind of give us a little background. I know you guys have also launched a podcast that I found absolutely hilarious. Kind of give us a background on the company and what's the basis behind it.
Sure. So I left Monster Energy as their Motorsport comms manager last year, and had a couple of months off just to, like I say, remind my boyfriend that I did actually live here still, and that I haven't left him, and had a couple of months of just sort of thinking about what I wanted to do next before the new season started. And I decided that actually, for me, finding something where I can utilise all of the contacts that I've built up over the last 14 years of working in motorsport all over the world was the best option for me. So the Motorsport Collective is a membership club for people who work or compete in motorsport. And we have events that we host around the world regularly. So we've got one in Monaco this year at the Formula One Grand Prix on a yacht. So go to Yacht Life. We have a launch coming up in a couple of weeks' time. We have another one just before the British Grand Prix, and other events sort of scattered across Europe at the moment. And our members are basically motorsport professionals, so people who work or compete in the industry. And it's just a really fun way of getting to know new people, seeing old friends, kind of catching up with all the people in the industry and sort of the industry information that's going on. So we're getting some really cool guests coming to speak to us at each event. First people are actually Monster Energy. They're coming to be my guest speakers at the first one, which I'm really, really thrilled about. It's really nice to kind of still be working with those guys. So they're coming to tell us a little bit about how they kind of disrupt the motorsport sponsorship scene a bit with people like Ken and doing, things like Gymkhana and working with Valentino Rossi and Lewis Hamilton, and how they kind of just do things differently to how a lot of other sponsors work on things. And lots of other guest speakers coming up, hopefully having either Ken or some guys from his team coming to speak to us at an event during the year, and many, many, many more cool guests being introduced over the season. So it's at the moment we're based in Europe, obviously. Most of our events are in Europe, but we actually broadcast all of our events live to our members through Periscope. So if you do join and you're not actually able to attend an event, whether it's because you're on the other side of the world or because you're working hard, you can actually still catch up with what's going on and hear from the guest speakers and kind of interact with all the other members online that way. So it's a really, really cool thing. I've got people who've joined already from the US, from Australia, from Dubai and Abu Dhabi, who are really keen to kind of bring the events over to their markets as well. So it's really fun. It's good. It's allowing me to use all of my contacts that I've built up and catch up with all the people I haven't seen for years, and really kind of help the motorsport industry keep thriving, really.
Well, and I know I looked into it, and I got the the information. It's one of those things. I'm like, I need to sign up for this because it looks like something that's to me it's a no-brainer. And talking about the U.S., I'm going, gosh, I could already see some huge events you could have in the U.S. with that. As you start to expand over the next couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. It's we kind of forget that. Just because you're friends with someone on Facebook or perhaps on LinkedIn, which is just, LinkedIn, it's just hard work these days trying to find anybody on LinkedIn, or, you get requests from people who have nothing to do with your industry, and you just, after a while, you think, this isn't working, I never actually contact these people on here. And the best way to still make connections is face-to-face, regardless of whichever way we want to look at it. And, we've got all these wonderful social media tools at our fingertips these days, but you walk into a room, and if there's 50, 100 people in that room that all do what you do and have the answers to questions that you might have, or might just be inspirational in the sense of saying, have you ever thought of doing this? And you come away from that after, a couple of hours of that type of event. That is something that can really really be so beneficial to people, whether it's for their business or for their career, or, you know, looking for the next job, or just trying to find somebody to, you know, help them in their quest to get more sponsorship or something like that. So yeah, it's a really cool little kind of club of just all of us who we know what it's like working in the motorsport industry. It's before you know it, it's December again, and yeah, it's good to kind of come together and share these things. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring it to America and Australia and all over the world as well. So.
Yeah, well, and you know, two takeaways just from what you said to me. I mean, you know, it was funny because I see this as the motorsports industry, just with the way the internet has worked. I mean, it seems like the world has got a lot smaller. I mean, it's like this interview here. I mean, it was like, you know, you shot each other a couple of messages, and here we've got an interview lined up, you know, across the Atlantic, you know, and it wasn't until I actually had to call you and think about the 7-hour time difference from where I'm at, you know, that it put it into perspective. Hey, she's not next door.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. Well, we're a huge global family, and we've all got so many things that we can share. You know, I'm very lucky that I've traveled the world for my job, but a lot of people who are maybe just working on a championship that's based just in the US or just in Australia or just in the UK or Europe, you maybe don't get those opportunities. And like I say, I'm very fortunate that I've worked in roles which have allowed me to do that. And I've met people that I think, God, if I hadn't met you, like, my career wouldn't be what it was. And all it takes sometimes is, like I say, a very short conversation with someone, or being introduced to a mutual connection, and say, oh, you're trying to do this thing. I know someone that can help you. And those sorts of things can literally change your life. So I really want to share that with people and start to share the love, share the motorsport love around the world.
Well, and I agree, and completely, wholeheartedly agree. And I've been a huge advocate. I know people that sit behind their computer and it's send emails. Oh, I can't get, you know, so-and-so to answer, and I can't do this. And I'm like, close the laptop, get in your car, get on a plane. And I said, there's nothing like shaking hands and talking to somebody face-to-face. I said 30 seconds with somebody face-to-face is 10 times better than a week's worth of emails back and forth.
100%, yeah. And we all know how hard it is to, you know, if you're racing and you need to get sponsors. I mean, I have to be honest, I put my hands up. I was that person who was getting bombarded with sponsorship proposals day in, day out, and I couldn't respond to them all because you're just getting, you know, 20 of them a week, and you think, crikey, if there was a way that you could just find the people that you really wanted to meet with and be able to speak to them very quickly in a, you know, nice social kind of like really cool informal environment to work out whether they were the right fit for you or not, you might have dismissed their proposal because you just didn't have time, or you were busy, or you missed it, or it went to your junk mail folder. But meeting them, you might think, actually, this guy's really cool and he fits perfectly with my brand, and I really want to sponsor this, you know, this guy or this girl. And that sort of stuff, like I say, that's kind of game-changing stuff. So I really want to help everybody do what they can to push their own careers and their businesses forward, really, because if we don't help our little industry survive, then it's not going to pay our bills, is it? So we've got to help each other.
Well, and it's funny you say little industry, and it's the truth. You know, me doing radio now and trying to pitch, a show to the networks and a non-pavement show that doesn't cover, you know, Formula One and NASCAR and IndyCar here in the States and touring cars and Le Mans and things like that. You know, I'm even smaller, but even, you know, shows that cover that, you know, it's compared here in the States, you know, which I guess would be overseas, would be, comparable to, you know, covering soccer or, you know, covering American football here or baseball. You know, I don't cover those, and they look at it and go, man, it's such a small niche. And we think we're so huge, but in the big scheme of things, we're really not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We all know what it's like. Like you and I, even though we've had different experiences and lived in different countries all our lives, we know what it's like to work in motorsport because you just get it. Like, you know, when you meet somebody for the first time that works in motorsport and you've never met them before, and you just have that knowing look to each other of like, yeah, I know where you're at. And I think we're really lucky that we've all got that, like this kind of funny little circus that travels around the world to entertain people, essentially. And I really think that's something we should, help each other. You know, it's not about sharing like technical data and stuff like that and helping the competition beat you. It's about just sort of reaching out to someone and saying, do you know what, I'm really trying to do this project at the moment, I'm really struggling, and I need a contact that can help me with this. And I'm very lucky that I have a big contact list that spreads across all different types of motorsport, from Formula One to Rallycross to Rally to Dakar to MotoGP. And I know that that's completely invaluable to me. If I need to meet someone or find someone in order to help me with a project, I know that I can probably ring one person, and that either that person can help me or they will know someone who can help me. And that's something that if you start to nurture those relationships and build that up over your motorsport career, whether you race or whether you work in it, it's completely invaluable. Really, really is. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, that being said, I know, you're talking about, kind of some of the funny stories and knowing people and know they work in motorsport. Let's talk a little bit about your first podcast, because I found it absolutely hilarious. Give us a background, because I know you're only one episode in at this point, right? But it's tied in with the Motorsport Collective. I mean, where can people find it, and what can they expect out of this?
Sure. So in kind of pulling together the Motorsport Collective itself, it kind of occurred to me that everyone I meet, whenever I meet different people or my friends that have known me for years, they always say to me, you should write a book one day, because you've got so many stories, and most of them are just absolutely ridiculous and, involve fighting people in the street to rescue people's watches, or falling out of helicopters, and people getting shot with guns, and all of these sort of the crazy stories that my friends are just like, what the hell do you do for a living? And I think most people don't realise that that's actually the sort of stuff that goes on in motorsport. Everyone thinks you kind of turn up to a race and cars go around in a circle and then you go home, and trust me, it is never as simple as that. So I thought, right, well, hang on a minute. Writing a book, that's a great idea, but let's be honest, there's far easier ways of doing these things these days. So I figured, why not set up a series of podcasts that are available on iTunes and on Spreaker, and invite sort of people that I know and that I've worked with for over the years, and really interesting people that have got cool stories to share about just the kind of crazy stuff that goes on in motorsport. It's not the results, it's not the tech, it's not the kind of discussions about drivers, and who's going here and who's going where, and the kind of gossip in the paddock. It's more like, do you know what, sometimes when you turn up to a race and you've got so much stuff to do and you're so tired that all you want to do is just go to bed, and you can't, and you've had 20-hour days for 7 days in a row, and just the kind of funny stuff that happens. So the first episode is actually with a friend of mine who I've worked with for a long, long time now through Monster, and he is just hilarious. He's a film producer and a fantastic cameraman, and just never a dull moment when he's around. So yeah, he's got lots of funny stories to share about what goes on at motocross events around the world, and Monza Rally, the time I very unfortunately ripped my jeans open in front of Valentino Rossi getting into the car, and all these things that you think, oh my God, that's actually my life. Like, this is ridiculous. I think it would be very funny for people who are fans, because it's the real story of what goes on when you work in motorsport. And for people who work in it, they'll totally get it. They'll think, yeah, that's something else. Yeah, I understand that.
Absolutely. Well, we're running short on time here, but I appreciate the time, Lindsay. And as always welcome on the show. We need to do it more often, maybe once or twice a year. Kind of get some updates.
Definitely. Well, I'd love to get you on ours as well. We'd love to have you on as a guest of us at the Motorsport Collective podcast. So yeah, we'll hook that up. But yeah, we need to do it more often than every 4 years.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate it, Lindsay, and we'll be back after this break.
I'm Polaris rider Lee Valley, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, Snocross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris RZR XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
MTX Audio is the leader in sound. Whether you're looking for high-quality, all-weather motorsports audio products like soundbars, amplifiers, and speakers that will work on any UTV or motorcycle, need to dial in your car or home with high-performance audio solutions, or are looking for a new portable speaker or set of headphones, MTX Audio has what you need to get your project sounding as good as it looks. MTX Audio is a family-owned American manufacturer who has been in business for over 40 years. Check out the full line of products at mtx.com. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Just got done with my good friend Lindsay Orridge from over there in the UK. And now we got Amy Houde back in studio with me. How is everything going, Amy?
Oh, hey. Exactly the same as it was 25 minutes ago.
All right, no more dead batteries with the truck, right?
Oh, again. It's like every Tuesday my truck dies. I'm not kidding. It's because on Tuesdays, I put my four-ways on more than usual, and it's super cold outside again today. Like, we had a bit of a cold spell kind of run through here. So poor little Danger Ranger has a hard time keeping up, okay?
Man, I was going to say, we've got, we've got KC Highlights, a lighting sponsor. We've got MTX, a stereo sponsor. Like, we could get you pimped out with all these electronics in your Ranger, but it's having a hard time keeping up as it is. I'm like, man, start adding in some of these accessories. That battery's not going to be in good shape.
I just need a new battery. It's time. Like, you try to handle a minus 50-degree winter weather here in Winnipeg, and you see how long your battery lasts.
I handle it really easy. I live in Arizona.
Exactly.
I don't even want to tell you what the weather is today. Let me rub it in a bit. Here, we gotta look it up because I think it's supposed to be 90 here. Yeah, it's supposed to be 91 today. 91 Fahrenheit. I have no idea what that is in Celsius, but I'm sure it's warm. So there you go.
Well, the way to rub it in. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I got to do my part. Anyways, let's talk some Supercross. All right, let's change the subject here. Let's talk some Supercross. We didn't get a chance to last week because you were under the weather, but 250 East kicking off. Let's roll right into it. What are your thoughts? I know, Justin Hill. Heck of a battle from dead last. Would he dump it in the first corner and battled all the way back to fifth? Solid effort by him.
Yeah, honestly, if I had to kind of come back with a recap from this weekend, Supercross over out east, is that the East Coast life is stacked. Honestly, there's about 5 guys who I think are going to be swapping places on that podium every single weekend. It was insane, and I got to give it up to Martin Davalos. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. This guy has been racing the lights class for 11 years, and with 74 starts in Supercross, he's only won 3 races. He's a heat race winner. Everyone always bets money on him winning a heat race, but he can never seem to pull it together, for the main event. And last year, I know he struggled severely, which also I found out that Tyler Bowers is struggling with this year. Have you heard of Epstein-Barr there, Jim?
Have I heard of what?
Epstein-Barr.
Epstein-Barr? No, refresh my memory. I've heard I've heard that before, but I have no idea what it is. What is it? Refresh me.
I thought it was some weird tropical disease, being that Martin is from Ecuador, and then Tyler Bowers talked about Epstein-Barr this weekend. But it's actually when athletes overtrain and their muscles just can't handle it, and their body kind of goes in shutdown mode, and it's really, really important for especially motocross athletes, being that outdoor motocross and Supercross is one of the most physically demanding sports in the world, voted by some magazine out there. I've read it one time. Okay, so don't quote me on that. But Epstein-Barr is when athletes overtrain, and Martin Davalos suffered extremely bad last year, I think, with his immune system. And now this year, Tyler Bowers, just with his endurance, and he's tightening up, and he had back surgery last year. But apparently Epstein-Barr is when athletes overtrain and their bodies just give out and can't handle it. So that's why, all these athletes have these ridiculously expensive, important trainers, and, training is such a huge part of their program because, being prepared to race a Supercross race, it's not just being physically ready, but you can, it's not being over ready and not, you're overtraining because apparently this is a thing. So, yeah, I guess Martin Davalos figured it all out. Might have got on the new training program because he, rode a 15-lap flawless race. That he was, the man of the night, untouchable, and it was just so gratifying to kind of see him win because I know he's worked really hard on it. And again, 11 years in life class, like that we don't see that very often. We see like 2-3 years max, and then the guys move on or move out.
Yeah. So that's my new excuse for everything. I got Epstein-Barr.
Yeah, me too. I said that after.
How come you lost? I'm suffering through Epstein-Barr. I'm sorry. I just overtrained for this one. I was, that's my new excuse. I love it.
Yeah, I know. That's funny. So, but, solid ride from Malcolm Stewart, who ran into Shane McElrath. His bike was down in the sand section, which was really gnarly. That sand section was such a unique spot on the track because it's very one line. Guys would kind of come in there, and have to line themselves up and let the guy in front of them, lead through that section, and it would usually open up a gap. Really, really gnarly and really cool to see that section. But yeah, Malcolm Stewart ran right into his bike and luckily did not, dump it out there too long. He was able to come back, but he lost that nice little gap that he had on Davalos there. He ended up, Davalos took it home, but, solid race from Malcolm Stewart. And I got to hand it to, two-time Rookie of the Year from Supercross and Outdoor, Aaron Plessinger. Took it home from his teammate, Jeremy Martin, who was, two-time Outdoor champion. And everybody thought that, he was going to be the guy to beat on the East Coast. And here we have still fairly a rookie, but, last year it wasn't just a fluke. This guy had what it takes to be a champion and finished a solid third. But it was such a cool night for the 250s because it was really anybody's game. And I hate to say this because I don't want to discredit Martin, but I did not have my money on Martin Davalos. I kind of thought he was going to hang back in the back of the pack again like he typically does or have a good start and fade. But no, it's really shakes things up and really kind of opens that championship up for a lot more people. And, like you talked about Justin Hill, he went from 21st to 5th. Almost past champion Jeremy Martin in the last lap. Like, that's insane. So a solid 5th place. Let's see what this guy can do if he can pull, a decent start. I think he can. I mean, that's incredible. All those guys that he had to pass, if he were to finish up, start up front, I think he would have a solid chance of winning, hands down.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's after seeing what we saw, I think he's one to watch going into the next couple of rounds, and he's going to get a good start. And I think when he does, look out. As we speak, I'm looking.
His endurance is there because that's a hard thing to go through the whole pack in a 15-lap race. I mean, my goodness. Clearly, Justin Hill is training well, and he don't have no Epstein-Barr.
Yeah. As we speak, I'm checking. I check social media off and on. During the show to see updates and people ask questions, stuff like that. Dean Wilson just posted up a video. It says been a rough 4 weeks with some complications on the knee, onwards and upwards from here. His knee looks gnarly. He just showed it with them removing like the cast and all the bandages. Holy crap! I don't know. I think if he's trying to ride an exercise bike, like I think outdoors is wishful thinking. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's gnarly.
Poor Dean Wilson. That guy cannot catch a break, and I just feel bad for him. I mean, he got this opportunity to ride with Mitch and then KTM, and unfortunately, his body just lets him down. It's never been his riding. He's always been such a solid athlete and a great racer and extremely competitive, but his body can't handle it. The guy's so big, his knees are very delicate, and he tends to crash now and then too many times.
Yeah.
But no, it's too bad. It really is too bad because, I mean, it's one thing when it's your own riding and you know what you got to go back to the drawing board each weekend and fix in order to get to where you want to be. But when your body lets you down and you're suffering from all these injuries, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to turn. Like, what are your options? You can't get a new robo leg or, get placed in your shoulder for people who blow their shoulders out all the time. It's like unfair. I've been there. I've struggled with shoulder injuries and re-injuring my same shoulder, my left shoulder, over and over again, and I just don't know what to do. So you almost feel hopeless and like you don't really know how to fix the problem. Like, how do you fix it, really?
Yeah. Well, that being said, James Stewart back in action. Great to see him finally back racing on a bike, and obviously not the result he wanted, but to be honest with you, I think him being on track is a win at this point.
Well, I would have to say that that Marvin Muscan would not have the similar feeling and not be happy that James Stewart is back on the bike because, I mean, mixed messages, some people say James Stewart was in the way. Some people say he wasn't. I say he wasn't. But, if you watch that 450 race, extremely devastating for Marvin. Like that, that race win was his. It came down to the last lap, like 3 corners before the finish line. They threw the blue flag over the finish line jump, and Stewart held his pace. You're supposed to move over and let get out of the main racing line, which he did. You can see that in that rhythm section, he moved over all the way to the left by the tough blocks. But I don't know if the fact that he held the same pace as the guys, Martin. I almost wouldn't call him Martin, but Marvin clearly was looking at James, completely screwed up his rhythm in that rhythm section, and almost, lost it and ran into both Stewart and Dungey, and unfortunately gave up that win. And it was so sad, and you could see Ryan Dungey shaking his head over as he went over the finish line because he knew that that race was basically given to him like that, and he even said on the podium that race was Marvin's, and he rode such a solid race. And it's really cool to see how, at the beginning of this 450 rookie season for Marvin, he was back in kind of 12th and 11th and, top 10, and now halfway through the season, he's almost winning races. Huge improvement in this 450 class for him. It's incredible to watch. Like, he's picked it up so quickly, and usually it takes guys a whole season to be able to put up, the 450 class together after coming off 250. So he's really stepped it up, and great things ahead for him. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, I know obviously you mentioned Ryan Dungey winning, but I got to say, we only got about a minute and a half left, but did you see the NASCAR drivers on the bikes and the whole shot thing? Clint Boyer leaving it all on the track. That was my highlight of the whole thing, man, seeing him just send it into the tough blocks.
They have to do that more often. Like we just want to see more and more of it. I know that the NASCAR season, like the Daytona 500 or whatever it is, I'm not really an asphalt girl, but it's over. So I think the athletes now because usually they sign contracts that they cannot fly a kite during their season because if anything gets broken or scratched or bruised, on their bodies, it's like if they can't race, like that's a big no. So obviously now that the 200 or 500, whatever it was, is over. It made for such an interesting halftime. Like, it was so awesome. Like, they need to do that more often. But, man, he took it like a champ, but he got blasted all over social media by Travis Pastrana, Supercross Live, Monster Energy. I watched all the Instagram and Twitter feeds going crazy. But, man, he champed it out and wrote it off and, threw up the big macho sign. Like, it was so funny. Oh my goodness. But come on, like, aren't those guys used to turning left? They had to turn left. I'm surprised he didn't figure it out.
Yeah. No, you know what, though? He's probably loving it because I think his social media following at least doubled because of that. So he had everybody in the country. I wish I could get that kind of publicity. I'd send a bike into some tough blocks to get that kind of boost in my social. But, yeah.
He and his face when the cameras panned to him was beet red. Like, he was a tomato. It was awesome. I'm hands down. He's such a good sport. That's really cool to see. But it's cool that they get all these other, industries involved, and there are so many NASCAR guys there watching, but it'd be cool to get, people from different sports like golf or hockey, like even some hockey guys in, on the action. And it's a great way of cross-promoting because I actually Googled a lot of NASCAR after that race and Google these riders and these athletes and drivers and stuff. So it's cool that they're cross-promoting like that. I really think they did a good job. Cool to see.
For sure. All right, we got to take a short break, and you're going to hang tight, and we'll wrap things up here in a minute, Amy?
Yeah, I got to get going, you guys, so I will see you and talk to you next week after my ice race weekend. I got a doubleheader race this weekend. I'm going to take it home for the win. That's it. I'm winning. That's all I can say.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk to you next week, and we're going to hit this commercial break.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners, and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Wrapping up things here on what I would call one heck of a blockbuster show. Man, that's about it. Gymkhana 8, Ken Block, doesn't get any bigger or better than that. And then Lindsay Orridge calling in from the UK at Amy Houde. We've talked some score, talked some Supercross, and a whole lot more here today. Man, I got to tell you, next week, Mint 400 week, we're going to be ramping things up next week on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, talking all things Mint 400. Amy Houde and I, we're going to be live from Fremont Street Friday out in Vegas, so you definitely want to be locked and loaded Friday to that stream at downanddirtyshow.com. Also possibility that we might be doing some live race day streaming as well. I don't know, but definitely locked, loaded, and let me know. We'll get you dialed in for that on my social media accounts. Supercross coming up, obviously the Mint 400. Rally America 100-acre wood. Holy crap, an entry list they've got going on there. 70-plus entries at this point. It's going to be huge. It's going to be epic. You definitely want to be dialed in for that as well. Got to give a big shout-out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Subaru, KC Highlights, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish Rally School, MTX, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, Terracross, the Blue Water Resort and Casino. Give me a follow at JimBeaver15 on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/DownandDirtyShow or DownandDirtyShow.com for all those back episodes. Give Amy Houde a follow at AmyHoude71 on Twitter and Instagram, and download our app, available on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. And man, I am definitely looking forward to shredding my new Turbo Razor this weekend, and definitely looking forward to the Mint 400 coming up next week. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to be epic. As always, be safe and game on.